What is good, my fellow warriors of light? Lotus Moon here with another Mobius Final Fantasy video. So this is going to be another one of my 8-panel unlocking videos, and in this video we're going to be featuring the job Viking. So the Viking has been out in global for a little while now, and he is a very strong multiplayer breaker. And that is the reason why I'm choosing to unlock him today for you guys, is to have another option in a high HP breaker. Now I've had the Viking for a while now, and I chose not to unlock him right away for several reasons, which I'll get into in this video. But another reason why I'm making this video is to have a running archive of all of the jobs I unlock. That way, future watchers or current watchers that have yet to pull the Viking, if they're curious about what kind of stats or what to expect from the job, they can always look back and watch past videos about any particular job I fully 8-panel. So this will be a good video for those people wondering if they should unlock the Viking or not. So before we get into the 8-paneling, let's go over its current evaluation in Japan server. So here he is, the Viking. Now, this is its current evaluation in Japan. Single player 80 points and multiplayer 85 points, and its role is a breaker. Now, this evaluation is subject to change. I just want to make sure everyone watching is understanding of this. Now, I am waiting for this job in Japan to get its Hall of Fame. And this is going to be the main factor in terms of its evaluation changing. So once this job gets the Hall of Fame, it's definitely going to be getting a lot higher evaluation, which is going to be great. But currently it's going to be 80 and 85. So its strong points are, it does have access to the element darkness, and he does also have very high hit points. So now there's not too many breakers in general that will have access to the dark element. Currently in global, this is our only breaker that has dark. So this is always going to be a great breaker in the future to bring against the Ultima Sicarius battle. Now it says here waiting for job queue. Again, like I said, this job does not have the Hall of Fame panels yet. So people are basically waiting for this job to get extra strengthening from those panels. Weak points are, it has very low magic power. So it does mention here that he does have high HP and high break. But since his magic is low, it makes it harder to finish off the enemy. So it does recommend bringing something to increase its magical abilities by either bringing Moogle or Knights of the Round or something like that. It also says here it is difficult to play an active part in the solo quests because it is an excellent breaker. It's not really suitable for finishing off strong enemies. So it kind of says here that this job is a little bit obsolete compared to other jobs currently in Japan. Now, of course, as everyone knows, Japan is much further along than we are in global. So Viking is going to be definitely a good job currently. But this is one reason why I chose not to unlock the Viking right away, is because of its low magical power. And I do have other breakers, but this is going to be one of the more durable breakers currently. So like I mentioned, evaluation for multiplayer, he does have very high HP for a breaker, and he is durable. So this is one of the main strong points for this job. If you find yourself dying a lot in multiplayer, you may want to choose this breaker instead. It does have a lot higher HP, and it can definitely handle himself better in certain situations. So let's go over his element types here. So he has wind, earth, and dark. And he has 1 star of defensive power, 7 stars of quickness, and 3 stars of critical. So the other reason why I didn't really want to unlock this job right away is because his auto ability list is a little bit lacking compared to other jobs. It's very short, and it doesn't give too much to you. He does have some very good clutch abilities. He has clutch, boost, haste, snipe, and regeneration. All really good auto abilities to have when you're low on HP, especially as a breaker. You're going to get that boost if you don't have it already on. Now, as far as damage dealing goes, he does have 100% strengthening to darkness. So if you're going to use him in single player and you want to do some decent damage, definitely bring a strong dark card. You can take advantage of this 100% strengthening. He also has 45% tolerance to darkness, so he is also going to be a survivor against the anima fight. So another reason why he will be good in multiplayer. He has 50% resistance to stun and 50% resistance to having his actions lowered. So that is basically it for his auto abilities. Kind of very short and to the point. Not a lot to look forward to as far as this auto abilities go. Now, one big factor for this job that makes it worth it to me is its ultimate. The ultimate name is called Overkill, and it is a very, very strong ultimate, especially in multiplayer to break the enemy. So this ultimate has a huge break power and also very strong offensive power as well. So this is just an all-around great ultimate. I've seen in multiplayer some breakers use this ultimate and completely deplete the red gauge by itself. So it is very good to have, as a breaker, a strong break ultimate. Which is another reason why I did choose to unlock this job. So as far as the kind of skill seeds you're going to need for this job to unlock him, you're going to be using a lot of dark skill seeds and a lot of wind skill seeds. And a few earth, but not as much. Mostly dark and wind. This is the 8th panel right here. As you can see here, it does take quite a bit. The 4th panel, same thing. A lot of dark and wind. So let's talk about his weapon for a second here. It does come with this weapon, this giant axe. Now, I've seen breakers sometimes use this weapon as a Viking, and I don't really understand why. This weapon is not very strong as a breaker or in general. Its evaluation is only a C in both multiplayer and single player, and the reason why is because its auto abilities are pretty lackluster. He's going to give you HP recovery when you win a battle, 15%, and job change recast. So the HP recovery when you win a battle, it's okay in single player to keep alive, but in multiplayer this pretty much has no use. And job change recast is a good ability, but as an auto ability in a weapon, you can always put this on your cards as a fractal. So it is a good ability to have, but it's kind of almost a waste of a slot, in my opinion, to have on your weapon. Since, like I said, you can always add these to your cards, so kind of not the best to have. He does get eventually a special move level up +1, but overall this weapon is not very good. I would not recommend using this weapon unless you don't really have anything better. But honestly, even the weapon you can get in multiplayer is going to be better than this weapon, so I would leave this weapon to the side. So that's enough about the evaluation. Let's get into the unlocking part. Now, one thing about this job, let's go first look at like a visual review of him. So he looks pretty typical of what you'd imagine of a stereotypical Viking. He has some plate mail, look like some plate mail armor here. He has a lot of fur going on, and he has his, of course, horned helmet going on there. Not the most attractive character in my opinion, but he is a Viking, so he's going to be looking a lot cooler once he's 8 panel. This is just his 1 panel outfit, so let's go ahead and start looking at his skill panels. First skill panel, of course, always very easy to unlock. He's going to be needing a few dark and a few wind. This is going to give you first resistance to dark 5%, a little bit of dark enhancement 5%, and of course level up your ultimate. This is also going to give you right away advert stun 20%, so that is kind of nice to have on your first panel. So let's go ahead and unlock this. So here's his first weapon. It got Dark Draw 50 plus 50. It's not a very good weapon though. It's alright, but again, not something you're going to want to be using. Here his second panel. He's going to get 5% more to resist darkness. Gonna get his clutch regen. Gonna get enhanced dark 5%. And of course another enhanced ultimate level. So let's go ahead and unlock the second panel. And it's gonna get its plus version of this first weapon. Moving on to the third panel, he's going to get the clutch boost, which is probably one of the more important clutch abilities to have. Another 5% resistance to dark. He's going to get advert action loss 20%. And another 5% to enhance darkness. So let's go ahead and unlock the third panel here. And he's going to get his bliss version of this weapon. We're on now skill panel 4. For skill panel, he's going to get finally his X version of this weapon. Again, that's pretty much just a beginner's weapon. Not something you're going to want to boost at all. Another 5% resistance to dark. Another enhanced ultimate. And pretty much more generic stat boosting, such as a lot of HP and a lot of magic and stuff. So let's go ahead and finish unlocking the fourth panel and get his new job outfit. Okay, before we move on, let's just take a look at his fourth panel outfit. So in this outfit, looks like his color scheme changed a little bit. His helmet turned gold with reddish brown horns, and his armor looks more green now. So definitely a lot more colorful looking Viking now. But pretty much everything else stayed the same. His weapon, let's take a look at how it looks. Now it is a cool looking weapon. It looks almost like a rock or some kind of crystallized rock or something. So it's a pretty neat looking weapon. It's almost like a club, but it does look cool. So here's his base stats at 4 panels without any additional levels with cards. 2,417 HP, 158 attack, 128 break, and 65% magic. Let's go ahead and continue with the 5th panel here. He's going to get resist dark plus 5%, another 5% there, so 10% of resistance to dark. I'm going to get 10% enhancement to dark, and of course an increase to his ultimate. He also going to get advert stun additional 30%, so that's going to give him his 50% we were talking about earlier. And he's going to get his new weapon, Gigant Axe. Like I said, it has the Healing Victory and the Job Change Recast. Not particularly impressive weapon. Moving on to the 6th panel, he's going to get another Resistance to Dark, 5%. Clutch Snipe. More Enhanced Ultimate. And Enhanced Dark 20%. So definitely going to get a big boost to his dark enhancement here. And the Giant Axe Plus. So seventh skill panel, another 5% resistance to dark. Gonna get Clutch Haste, more improved ultimate, advert action loss 30%, and 20% enhancement to dark. So moving right along with the stats. And he's gonna get his Bliss version of this weapon. finally we're at the 8th panel here. So he's finally gonna get the X version of his giant axe. Another 5% resistance to dark. Quite a bit of break power, as you can see here. Another in his final enhance to ultimate. And 30% extra enhancement to dark. So we can finally finish off his stats here with the 8th panel and get his last job improvement here. Jarl, I guess you pronounce it, Jarl. It just says here he is the leader of the legendary tribe, Raider tribe of the Cold North. Alright, finally unlocked. So let's take a look at his final outfit here. He's gonna get quite a nice increase to his basic stats. And this is by far the best looking of his outfits. So if you notice, his horns have gotten a lot longer on his helmet here, which I think it looks pretty nice. He got a lot more horny. So anyway, looking at his cape, pretty rugged looking cape. Very nice looking cape. It looks like got some scales on the back there. And his color scheme turned more reddish, so definitely an improvement look-wise. Also, his fur got darker. His fur has went from more a brownish color. So here he is, the Viking, at his final outfit. So his base stats have now become 5,072 HP, 395 attack, 264 break, and 135% magic. So yes, his magic is very low. He does have that high HP that we're looking for. Let's look at his base auto abilities again, here with the English version translation on the official Mobius game. Like I said, clutch, regen, boost, snipe, and haste. He's gonna get that 100% enhancement to darkness and resist darkness 45%, advert stun 50%, and invert action loss 50%. So let's go ahead and look at his new weapon here. It is a very cool looking axe though, I gotta say. The look, visually this axe looks really cool. Definitely badass. Look at those axe on his back. Shit, you would not want to mess with this guy. Those are some sharp blades. But it's too bad because we're not going to be using that weapon. As a breaker, definitely going to want to bring something. Definitely going to be using the butterfly edge here as a breaker weapon. But for now, well, let's go ahead and put my favorite weapon on here. This is not a breaker weapon, but just to show better stats, we'll have this equipped on him. So let's go ahead and put some cards on him that will increase his level to see what kind of stats we can expect. Let's go ahead and put Artemis on here. And we're also going to put Death Gaze, another great card for this job. Let's put on Prompto. And why not? Let's go ahead and put this Cloud for its dark ability. So at level 264 here, we now have almost 13,000 HP, so that is a huge amount of health. Very, very durable job. His break power is 664 here in single player mode. Pretty decent. Only 308 magic though, so that's where he's gonna be lacking in. In single player, like I mentioned on the website, you might want to bring something like Knights of the Round to help boost its to boost his magic percent. So let's go ahead and look on him as a multiplayer breaker, which is the main reason why I have him unlocked here. Viking. So again, you're going to be wanting using something as a breaker that has a good breaking auto ability, such as Piercing Break. Butterfly Edge is pretty much our best one currently in Global. Now, I still have to make my breaker guide video, so you'll be seeing me talk more about that in that video. So this is more just focusing on the Viking. But since he is a breaker in multiplayer, I am going to build him like a breaker. Of course, you're going to want your Artemis. You're going to want something with break defense down. Like I mentioned earlier, Death Gaze is great. Piercer, if you have it. Prompto is a great card. And, of course, Regalia. And let's go ahead and put some custom panels on here. I don't have anything good right now. I'm just going to be loading them up on some extra break power. And don't forget, guys, anytime you have a new job, go ahead and put on the free skill panels on him until you get something better. This is always a great bonus to your stats. And why not? Let's go ahead and put a resist light, 3%. I don't have enough light skill seeds. Oh well. More break power for now. So there we go. That has now boosted his break power to almost 1,000. That's not bad at all. So with his custom skill panels fully on break, and this generic build, he does have a pretty good break power. Now, he is going to have lower break power than other breakers, such as the Mythic Ninja. As you can see here, the Mythic Ninja with a similar setup, same level, 256, similar cards. It's going to have almost 1,200 break, so definitely a lot higher break, definitely a lot higher magic. As you can see here, my Mythic Ninja does have 543% magic versus this only has 238. So definitely gonna have lower break power and magic. The main value for this job, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is gonna be his high hit points and also his ultimate. So looking at his ultimate here, Overkill. Look at the kind of break power you're gonna be getting on there. That is crazy, 25. Almost 26,000 break power there. So that is a huge amount of break. And that is the reason why I'm going to be using this as my breaker for a while. Because the problem with Mythic Ninja is Mythic Ninja's ultimate, Sword and Sorcery. Look at the break power. It only has 1,500 break power. This is more of an attacker type ultimate, which does not suit this job at all, which is too bad. I think they should have given this job, the Mythic Ninja, a lot higher break power. As an ultimate. So definitely Viking has a big advantage there with such a strong ultimate, Overkill. So even though his break power naturally is going to be a little bit lower than, let's say, Mythic Ninjas, or even pretty much the highest break power job is going to be the Assassin. Now the Assassin though, look at his break power, 1,343. That is a huge amount of break. Now, the problem with the Assassin, of course, is he is very squishy. He has very low HP, so he's going to be dying a lot in multiplayer. And this has been my problem in multiplayer. I like playing Breaker sometimes, but you know, you want to live, obviously. You want to definitely get your limited time items. So this is going to be a huge advantage when you're playing the Viking as your breaker. Now, the reason why I've been talking about the Viking so much as a breaker, like I mentioned earlier, is he is not super great in single player. He will be okay, but as content keeps getting harder, his low magic is definitely going to start showing. So he's definitely going to be shining as a breaker, especially for now. So I just want to show his ultimate really quick in a random battle here. Let's just go somewhere. It doesn't really matter where. Let's just go to Hunter Islands. So if you guys choose to fully unlock the Viking, hope you guys are having fun with him. He is definitely a very strong breaker right now. Now monks are going to be coming out soon, so watch out for monks taking over some of the breaker roles. Especially we're going to be getting the grappler very soon. So let's just go ahead and go here in a random battle. I mostly just want to show you his ultimate. And he comes with some very funky music, I gotta say. Let's go ahead and Blade Beam. Alright. Let's see Overkill. That is pretty sweet. I just realized when you do his ultimate, he gets his giant axe from nowhere. Even though he's using the daggers right now, he pulls out this giant axe from nowhere, so it's kind of cool looking. And he's also going to get the added status effects of Snipe and Drain, so also pretty good to note about that. And there's really no point to finish this battle here. I don't care about my stamina. So we're just going to end the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed the unlocking video. Wasn't the most exciting unlocking video, but I do wanted to cover the Viking. Anytime I unlock a new job, I do want to make a video about it so that future people watching can make the decision if this is a job they want to unlock or not. So